What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Happy Thursday. And we are on the eve of trial to kick off tomorrow, back in the Karen Reed case. And it looks like we're going to have another star witness on the stand. Everything is circulating around Brian Higgins right now. And there's been a lot of conversation because we saw a document today, and then there's been a lot of news articles floating around as well. And we'll get into that. And then I want to go back over because I just think it's some of the most compelling testimony that we've seen so far. I do want to review a little bit of Jen McCabe's testimony. And then last night, there was a new closing arguments with Vinnie Politan on Court TV. I want to get into that as well because I always love to see what Nick Rocco has to say and Plevin from Yellow Cottage Tales. So we'll go through that as well. But I wanted to let everybody know kind of some things that happen on the channel today. And I just want to be like upfront and what happened. I had a pretty horrible day today. I was kind of like scatterbrained and all over the place. So essentially, Aiden Turtleboy Carney had a hearing today down at Dedham Superior. And obviously that's what paused the Karen Reed case today because they can't be together in the same courtroom. So essentially what happened was I was going to initially drive down there. So I had set up my stream to drive down and watch Aiden go into court and then stream, outside until court ended and then watch him come out. So I start that post. I'm on my way to Dedham Superior. Now, we had thunderstorms. If you live here in Massachusetts, we had thunderstorms that rolled in pretty quickly right around the time that I was traveling out to court. And I'll tell you, it's some of the heaviest rain that I have seen in like forever. And we had a lot of like flash flooding going on. So I'm like, all right, screw this. I'm going to just turn back around. I'm going to grab the Zoom link and I will stream it. Of course, I get home and my power is completely out. Completely out. So like now I'm sitting here and I'm going, all right, what can I do? All right, well, I have a studio. So now I have to risk to drive all the way across town, hopefully that it still has power there, and set everything up and start doing the stream. So I said, screw it. I'm going. Drive all the way to my studio, get up, there's power, it's fine. I set up and I start to stream the Zoom call. Now, at the top of the screen, I see a message that says prohibited from recording. And I went, oh, this is a civil matter. There's probably going to be, there could be names that come out. There could be names of kids that come out, email addresses, phone numbers. And I'm going, and I'm feeling a little weird about it. And I felt bad. I had about 3,000 people in the chat watching. They're like, just keep going, keep going. Now, the thing is, I have to do what's best for my channel. I've put a lot of work into this channel, and I don't want to put anything at risk. And that's why I decided to stop the stream. I have to protect this channel. Like I said, I've put a lot into it. I have many, many things that I want to do in the future. And I'm going to tell you, all eyes are on these channels right now, and I don't want to screw up. So I decided to pull the stream. I wasn't going to go forward because, like I said, there could be sensitive information that gets out, phone numbers. There's children that were in and around, this case. I don't want to put anybody's names out there. It's not my business to do that. So I technically decided to close down the stream. That's it. Then I said, well, I'm halfway to the Dedham Superior. Why don't I do this? I'm going to get in my car, travel over there. I'll wait for Aiden to come out. And I had that opportunity to do that. And we had about 20 minutes. He was out there in front of the mainstream media and then talking with a lot of the people in the group. And I was happy to go over there. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do, and just come on and explain that to all of you and just be transparent about it. It was a rough day. I traveled around a lot of the place, all over the place. It was frustrating, the power issue, and then the whole issue with Zoom. I just didn't feel comfortable doing it, and that's it. And I'm not going to explain anymore. So it is what it is. We move on. That's it. We move on. All right. So today there was a lot of rumors floating around. A document popped up online. It was all over Twitter. It was all over the Facebook groups. And I will pull that up here. And granted, I will be back in my studio probably in about 2.5 weeks when the air conditioning system's hooked up in there. They're currently working on it over there, installing a brand new AC unit through the whole entire building. It's just been hot. And I'm up on the 3rd floor. And if you live on the 3rd floor and you don't have AC, and especially in a commercial building, it's hot as hell. So I'll be at home probably the next 2 weeks, back at home base here, where I started, and eventually get back into the studio. Okay, so let's pull up this document here. We'll take a look at it, and where is it? Here we go. So this popped up today online. A lot of conversation surrounding it, and let me see. There we go. I want to increase this just so you all can see it. So we had a basically discovery come in, Commonwealth's notice of discovery. Very, very interesting. I thought the discovery phase was over. This is the biggest question. So it says the Commonwealth's notice of discovery now comes to the Commonwealth in the above captioned manner that it indicates that of this date, following discovery materials have been provided to the defendant through the Defense Counsel. So this is something that was approved by the Defense Counsel. Very, very interesting. Copy of a curriculum of Dr. Justin Rice. You have a copy of the medical records of Brian Higgins. There's 5 pages, and Brian Higgins is getting ready to testify supposedly tomorrow. And then we had a copy of an enhanced image from Canton Police Department Cruiser 682 and camera, 1 video and 2 photos. Now, this is making everybody's mind just go off the chart. We know we have Brian Higgins testifying tomorrow. What is this video that's being submitted? What are these 2 photos that are being submitted? Why is his medical records being submitted? A lot of speculation. Now, some of the things that I threw around was, could it be that Brian Higgins got a injury on the night in question, maybe a dog bite, and he's trying to cover that information with these medical records? I don't know. Or is there something favorable in those medical records that are going to be beneficial to Karen Read? It's interesting. And we really couldn't put our thumb on it. And then this article comes out today, and this was very interesting. Defense says to expect fireworks when ATF agent Brian Higgins testifies in Karen Read trial. What do you all think? Yes, it's a medical expert. What do you all think? Let me know in the chat what you all think this could be, because I'm scratching my head. Is Higgins going to get on the stand tomorrow and benefit the defense? Did Higgins flip? That's been the conversation. Higgins is flipped. Did Higgins flip and he's going to let it all out tomorrow? I mean, that would blow my mind. It would completely blow my mind. Or is he hiding something and the defense wanted that information to prove him wrong? Yeah, and this is the biggest thing too. Jody says, why the hell did the Commonwealth wait so long to hand over discovery, and what else are they holding back? It's a very interesting question. Everybody literally is stumped on this one. I don't get it, and I've tried to come up with multiple theories, but we'll read through this a little bit. So this was from Channel 10 Boston. Higgins, one of the 3 men that Read's defense team has said had motive, opportunity, and means to attack John O'Keefe on the night of his death. He goes in to say, Karen Read's defense team says fireworks should be expected when the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive Special Agent Brian Higgins takes the stand. Now, remember, Brian Higgins and Brian Albert were ones that destroyed their phones on the night in question. So is it fireworks that they're going to come after Brian Higgins, or is it fireworks that Brian Higgins is going to let out a lot of information pertaining to what happened in 34 Fairview that night? Says Read is accused of striking her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, with their SUV on January 29, 2022, and leaving him for dead in a snowbank in Canton. She had pled not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges. The case has garnered national attention because of the defense alleges that the state and local law enforcement officials framed Read, pretty much the same stuff we've known here, and allowed the real killer to go free. O'Keefe's body was found outside the home of another Boston police officer, Brian Albert. And the defense argues his relationship with the local and state police tainted their investigation. After a night of drinking at several bars, prosecutors said Read dropped off O'Keefe at a house party hosted by Albert and his wife just after midnight. As she made a three-point turn, prosecutors say she struck O'Keefe before driving away. She returned hours later to find him. So tomorrow, says Thursday, is day off. And obviously, testimony will resume with Brian Higgins, suspected to testify when court resumes. So could this be Higgins says, I have a mental condition. I have PTSD. There's no way that I can get up on the stand. Could that be something that he puts forward? I don't know. This has really stumped a lot of people. Temper says Higgins isn't going to slip on the stand. If that were the case, the Commonwealth would not call him. Okay, fair point. Destiny says, I don't think so. They were already discussing his schedule to testify on Friday. Let's see. It's going to be, let's see. M says he can't hide anything now. Higgins worked for the ATF. For Christ's sakes, they need to put his medical records in the record if he blows up on the stand. Okay, interesting. I'm guessing Higgins witnessed it. That could be possible. Let's see. I heard he's going to court tomorrow. It was said on X. Yeah, I mean, he's said to go to court. Rumor is, here we go, Danny, moderator and channel member, thank you so much, says the rumor is that Higgins pulled Chloe off of John, and in doing that, Higgins also got attacked. So maybe medical records are dog bites. Quite possibly. I heard that a lot out near the courthouse today. That was one of the things that everybody was talking to that I saw when I saw a couple of peeps outside the courthouse. Annie, thank you so much for the 20. And what we're going to do tonight, and I've been very transparent about this tonight, on tonight's show, 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed's defense fund. And what I do afterwards is I post receipts up on my YouTube community page, and I post them on the LTL Media Facebook page. What I would love to do is get $50 towards Karen Reed's defense fund tonight. And we'll just keep a running total. If one of my mods can just keep track of the total, and I will call out any Cash Apps or Venmos or anything that comes through, we'll keep adding it to the total, and then we'll kick back 25%. And I just want to get to like a $50 goal for Karen Reed tonight. That would be great. Okay. So yeah, this is very interesting. I think this has boggled everybody's mind. Everybody's been scratching. Thank you, Rogue. I appreciate it. Thanks for being a great member and moderator. You're always here. So I don't know. We're all scratching our heads here. So let's go back to Jennifer McCabe. And I want to go back to the very, very, very first day that she testified when she talked about not deleting any of her calls. I'll tell you, I wish we had 5 more days of cross on Jennifer McCabe because I still think there's a lot to cover. All right, let's go back and review this. And then we're going to go. I have another section that I want to go over on the second day in which she talked about the Google searches. And then we'll play last night's closing arguments with Vinnie Politan. All right, here we go.
Their text to be kept secret and private. Isn't that right?
Not secret and private. We just weren't going to communicate certain things over text.
Did you give, or did anybody give you any private information the next day on January 30th?
Didn't even give me private information.
So let me put it in context. A text from Nicole Albert. We'll get more info tomorrow. I don't want to text about it. That was on the 29th, right?
Okay.
So did you get additional info on the 30th, the next day?
I have no idea.
Did anything significant happen on January 30th in connection with this case?
Real quick, Danny, I've been working on it. No one's gotten back to me. I've been sending my emails. I've got some really great attorneys that have joined me in the last 24 hours. That was fun. Natalie, lawyer chick, reached out. We had a live last night, did like half the show with her. And then Kurt from Uncivil Law, that I've never even met before, was in my chat last night. I said, if you want to jump up, we'll hang out. Came up, did the second half of Jen McCabe's testimony with me. That was awesome. And Natalie actually reached out to me this morning and said, hey, I'd love to do another live with you. So we're going to do something possibly next week. So that went really well. All right, let's keep pressing on here.
Any meetings, any get-togethers, anything that you can think of?
I went to the O'Keefe's house.
Kurt's awesome.
Other than that, anything else?
On the way home, Kerry Roberts' daughter is good friends with Michael Lank. So we dropped her off at Michael Lank's house, and Mike's wife came out of the house. Him and Carrie are friends, and
This is all rehearsed. She's trying to pull from the memory. All right, what do I say? How do I keep it in order? How do I keep the lie straight? That's why, if you noticed on the second day when she was really pressed and she had to get nailed down, Jax was trying to nail her down to specific times, to specific places that she was, testimony that she said in the past. What did she always have to do? Can I look at the document to refresh my mind? And I did. I already did. I already did, Joanne. I've written them, nothing back yet. It's okay. But you know, why do I need the document in front of me? Well, I need the document in front of me so I can look to say, how am I gonna cover this? What are they really asking me? What lie can I put out there? What are the lies that I've been putting? And it's that kind of hamster wheel spinning. And I love the way that Jackson does his cross, because he will start with something, take that person that's on the stand away from it, may bring them in the future or back a little bit from where he started before, and then we'll bring them back to where they were. That is mental gymnastics. That is a way that you are, you know, when you have a witness that is lying, they can't continue to lie. A lie on top of a lie on top of a lie. Eventually, the truth is going to start spilling out because you can't lie anymore. And that's where they will catch you. That's where they will catch you. So I love Jackson's approach.
she, jumped in the car and was consoling Carrie and asks how the O'Keefes were doing. And, we talked to her.
So you pulled up to Michael Lank's house on the 30th. That's never been reported, has it?
I guess I never thought much of it.
Sure. Never thought about reporting the fact that one of the first responding officers on the case, working for Canton PD, which is conflicted off the case, you had a meeting with that was unreported the next day?
I didn't meet with Michael Lank.
I see. So you pulled up in the car. Tell me about that again. You pulled up in the car and what happened?
And Lex, her daughter, went into the house.
Okay. And then you just drove away?
No. Michael's wife came out of the house.
Okay. And y'all had a conversation about what?
She got in the car and her and Carrie are friends, and she was checking on Carrie and, just saying, oh my God, this is so crazy, just checking in on the O'Keefes.
How long did that take?
Well, Carrie's a talker, so could have been an hour.
Yeah.
Could have been an hour standing outside.
I'll tell you this. Jess Machado was on Turtle Boys live last night. She jumped on for about 4 hours. And her reporting is saying this. Every time, because she's been in the courtroom, every time Jen McCabe looks at that jury, they are not looking at her. And she's looking for some type of validation, Jen said. Every time she's looking over, she is looking for some desperate sense of validation from this jury. They are not even making any eye contact with her. Not one juror, she said, is making eye contact when she looks over. That is not good for these witnesses. It's not, especially Jen McCabe, not good. No one's connecting with her.
Sitting in the car.
Sitting in the car on February 30th. Never came in the house?
Not February 30th.
I said February 30th. January 30th.
Yeah,
never went in the house?
Yeah, absolutely.
I might have ran in to go to the bathroom.
It's the back end of a blizzard. It's freezing cold outside.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in the car for an hour.
The car was running, Carrie, and they were talking.
Well, you're right, Mary.
It's her friend.
Did you have any conversation before your testimony today with anybody about you going to Michael Lank's house on January 30th? Anybody?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Who was it and when?
It was a couple of weeks ago at the DA's office.
The DA's office had an interview with you, correct?
Not an interview. They just explained this process.
I mean,
let's do this real quick. Moderator, if you can add this up. Little Irish girl just sent $10. Thank you so much. She said, congratulations on the 20K. Thank you so much. And then we'll also pull this one up here. Just our $5 super chat from Emily, $4.99, and we'll round it up to $5. So let's add 15 to the 20. doing my part for the defense fund. Thank you for your coverage. Thank you. And 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed's defense fund. And then what we're trying to do is at least get to a goal of $50 for Karen tonight. That would be awesome if we could do that. All right, let's keep playing.
How about that?
Yeah. Yes.
You met with folks in the DA's office. Who'd you meet with?
Moon Goddess, a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let's take 25%. We'll kick it back to Karen. Thank you.
Mr. Lally, Miss McLaughlin, Steve Nelson.
Thank you.
Trooper Brian Tully.
Thinking. Who do I get to say was there?
I believe, and another woman, I can't remember her name, unfortunately.
Someone from the DA's office?
Yes.
Beelan?
No.
Lynn Beelan?
No, she's here today. She works with Steve Nelson.
Ah, but an employee of the DA's office.
Yes.
That sounds like a pretty big meeting.
I wouldn't call it a big meeting. There was, what, 5 of them?
Yeah, it's a big meeting.
Them and then you, right?
My daughter Allie came with me also.
Ooh. So more people.
The meeting's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
No, we both went.
Was Allie in the room when you were, I was going to say interviewed, but you take issue with every word I used. When you were talked to by the DA?
Allie and I were both in the room when they went over everything, how this all works, because this is all brand new to us. And then they asked me to leave the room.
Add 10 more. Jennifer, thank you so much. So it's justice for John and Karen. Thank you.
You were about to say,
thank you, Rose.
and I lost the end of that sentence, when they received what?
I didn't mean the word received.
Oh.
Did you receive anything?
No, I looked at my grand jury notes.
Now, at this meeting, was anybody taking notes?
No.
You have a bunch of lawyers and DAs, and nobody has a notepad in front of them?
Yeah.
Like notes?
A little weird.
I believe Mr. Lally had a number of folders on the table.
You taking notes? In those?
I do not believe anyone was taking notes. It was a casual meeting to explain this process.
Was that meeting recorded in any way that you're aware of?
No.
How long did the meeting last?
Allie and I were
How
probably...
do you're getting ready to testify in a high profile murder case, and you're turning around and saying this is a casual meeting? Casual meeting with 7 people there. How's that even possible?
in the room, I don't know, approximately 20 minutes. Then I left and they spoke with her. And then I went back in and they spoke with me.
How long did they speak with you?
Honestly, maybe half hour.
And during that half hour to an hour, did they go over with you what they expected your testimony to be?
They never spoke about what they expected my testimony to be. They just showed me some pictures that might be shown. I listened to the 911.
What pictures?
Just of the house and how I'd be asked to, show. Okay, we're going to put a picture of the house and you'll have a laser.
Mr. Kay, when we started this conversation, it was because you said, in answer to my question, was anything ever brought up to you about this meeting at Lank's house?
Mm-hmm.
You said yes.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they did talk to you about your testimony. It wasn't just about the process, correct?
I asked what discovery had been
Oh, that's a great point, Moon. Moon says she stayed her ass in the car too. She didn't go over there to where John was because she was hoping he was dead. And this is the thing that I always say about this. And this is, I made this point over the last couple of shows. Jennifer McCabe's testimony was, I loved John. John was my friend. Okay, so let's say this, Jen. If John was your friend and someone that you loved, when you found him in the morning after driving back to 34 Fairview, why did you not say on your 911 call, and believe me, I've repeated this over and over again, why did you not say, officer down, my friend, a Boston police officer, John O'Keefe, is down. Please send EMS quickly, as fast as you can get here. Boston police office down. My friend John O'Keefe is down. Why did you not do that? If that was someone that you loved and you said you loved him so much and he was your friend, why did you fail? Why did you fail to do that? Because you knew what happened inside 34 Fairview and you're part of this cover-up. I'm going to just recognize this. Queen Olive, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate that. 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed. All right, let's go.
Turned in regard to me.
So you wanted to prepare to make sure that you knew what you might be asked on cross-examination, correct?
I wanted to know what was coming. Yes.
And you knew that one.
Thank you so much. $20 super chat. Thanks for the great coverage. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of the LTL team. I appreciate it. Thanks for that super chat. Let's go.
One of the things was coming after this meet. Well, let me ask it a different way.
Thank
During
you,
this
Rose.
meeting, did Mr. Lally tell you one of the things that's going to be coming is you had an off-the-books meeting at Lank's house for 45 minutes? Did he tell you that?
No, that's not how I was told.
Did he tell you that the defense had uncovered a report that established that you were actually at Michael Lank's house for 45 minutes that had never been reported to the defense or the prosecution before the phone extraction had been done? Did he tell you that?
I was told.
Maureen, thank you for the $9.99 super sticker. I appreciate it. All right, let's keep going.
I was asked, were you at Michael Lank's on the 30th?
So you've had a lot of time to come up with a story about why you were at Michael Lank's, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it. I didn't need time to make up a story because I have the truth of why we went.
Why are you looking at the
And the
jury?
truth, according to you, is you pulled up at Michael Lank's house. The first responding officer and Friends of the Alberts had a meeting with him the next day that was never reported to anybody for any purpose.
Unreal.
I
Just met with his wife out in the car while the car was running for 45 minutes to an hour. That's your story.
It's not a story. It's the truth. Carrie dropped her daughter off. The wife came out. Carrie is a talker.
Why is she looking at the jury?
They started talking. A tragedy had happened the day before.
It is interesting, would you not agree, that the day before you had this off-the-books meeting at Michael Lank's house, Nicole Albert says, we'll get more info tomorrow, meaning the very day you show up at Lank's
She's
house.
in shock right now. She's in, look at those were eyes of shock and horror right there. How did Jackson figure all this out? Well, because they're smart. Smart people. These people, what they're trying to do is keep their high profile Canton social circle together. They don't want anybody to infiltrate this. So they're all going to stick together and continue to lie through all this. Unfortunately, Karen was an outsider, and Karen got caught up in this group of nasty people. And, it's funny. I was hearing some things the other day about why didn't they cross Kerry? And, my conclusion was this, and actually Kurt and I talked about this last night on the show. Kurt said, one, it shows self-control for the defense. And I, said to Kurt before he said that, I said, if you look at it, they don't cross Kerry, but they've been crossing, they didn't cross Paul and Erin in the beginning. There's no need to do that. There's no need to beat on the O'Keefes. And I think that's why Lally probably put them up there first to see, if the defense came out firing and pounded into Paul and Erin. That was probably a little bit of a tactic on Lally. But, I said what they're doing here is, Kerry really was an outsider too. She only had the relationship with John because she didn't know Jen that much. So if you look at it, what the defense is trying to do is keep the Alberts and the McCabe's together to show that cohesiveness through all of this. Not only did their families know each other, They knew all the investigators and police officers that were involved in this. They knew EMS workers. They're connecting all those dots. That's what they're doing. And, you know, Kerry really would be secondhand. So that was kind of my kind of analyzation of the situation. That's how I felt. It just made more sense to attack the McCabe's and the Alberts at this point. Let me just get into this. Amy with a $2 super chat says Amber Heard 2.0. We'll add that to the total. And I thought I just saw another one. Carrie with a $10 super chat says, at the very end of yesterday's trial, the judge said that Friday's witnesses need to be completed for a lot of different reasons. Lally wasn't happy, but Jackson was widely smiling. Big stuff tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's going to be, yes, the Shaaawk Horrrraah campaign. That's what we're at. Let's see. I'm going to get caught up on the chat here, and then we'll keep playing. Happy, thank you. Happy holidays. Thank you. Great name, by the way. $20 super chat. Thank you so much. And says Crazy Eyes McCabe is a liar. Justice for John and Karen. Thank you. 25% of that will get kicked back. And we also had a $10 PayPal transaction that came through on PayPal. And I thank you so much for the $10. So we'll keep that rolling through in the chat. I think we're caught up. Let's continue with testimony. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Again, I never spoke with Mike Lank at his house. It was not an off-the-books meeting. It was Kerry dropping her daughter at one of her good friends' house, whose husband happens to be a Canton cop. That is what it is. That is the truth.
A lot of coincidences.
Objection.
Sustained.
Yeah, it's Tony.
Yes.
Link will get dropped there in the chat for Venmo. Shock and horror. I was in a state of shock and horror.
Let's squeeze in a break while they had that pause there inside of the courtroom, seeming to show some signs of wear there for Jennifer McCabe on day 2 of testimony, and it's not over.
Let's go back.
In respect of this issue about this meeting at Michael Lake's house?
He showed me nothing.
He just told you about it.
Shock and horror.
Brian Tully told me.
Okay, what did Mr. Tully tell you? Trooper Tully. What exactly did he tell you at this meeting about this Michael Lank issue?
He said, did you go to Michael Lank's on January 30th?
Shock and horror.
And at first I said, no, I've never been to his house. And then I thought about it and I said, oh my gosh, yes, I did go there. And that was the extent of the conversation.
You said, yeah, I did go there, and he didn't ask a follow-up, like, what the heck were you doing at Michael Lake's house the day after this issue?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
You didn't ask a follow-up like that?
Yeah.
I do not believe he did.
So one thing I wish that we could do, and we could see more, I really wish they would split screen it, have the witness, and then the either Lally or Karen's team on the left. You have the witness on the right, and you can see both of them at the same time. That would be awesome if they could do that. So we could see the attorneys actually talking to the witnesses. I think that would be awesome. But we don't get that. Usually they just focus right in on the witness, but split screen it. Damn it, Court TV. You could start a whole brand new way of testimony. Let's see a split screen here. I want to watch the witness and the lawyer at the same time. Mother of Beagles, great name, by the way, says, thanks for your coverage. Thanks for the $5. We'll add that in to the total tonight and kick 25% back to Karen Reed's defense fund. All right, let's go.
Trooper Tully, had you come down for an interview, he confronted you with a fact that had never been disclosed before, to wit, you showed up at Michael Lank's house, and when you said, hang on, I think your words were, oh my gosh, yeah, I think I did go there. And he didn't ask a follow-up question?
He was there. You're spinning all of this.
Ma'am, I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't spin. There's a judge here to make sure that I don't spin. I'm asking you a question. It's very dynamic.
Oh, Jackson. I got to go back and hear that. Oh, Jackson, I love it. Oh, it's so good. Jackson came in hot. Listen, he goes, I may do a lot of things, but I don't spin things. That's why we have a judge here. Let's hear that again.
Ma'am,
Let's
Had
go.
you come down for with a fact that had never been disclosed before, to wit, you showed up at Michael Lang's house, and when you said, yeah, oh yeah, hang on, I think your words were, oh my gosh, yeah, I think I did go there. And he didn't ask a follow-up question?
He was there. You're
Yes,
you're spinning all of this.
ma'am, I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't spin. There's a judge here to make sure that I don't spin. I'm asking you a question. It's very direct.
I do
So
not
good.
believe he asked me a follow-up question.
So that was the end of that conversation about Michael Lang, correct?
Correct.
Let's add 3.
Mr. Lally didn't have any follow-up questions.
I don't believe Mr. Lally was in the room.
Who else? I thought you said Mr. Lally, Mr. McLaughlin. I thought-
They were. They might not have been in the room at that time.
I see. So Mr. Lally just happened to, just saunter out?
It was a different time.
So Mr. Lally was in and out of the conversation?
Mr. Lally was not there when this conversation happened.
Well, why is that?
Because I met with Brian Tully and he was not there.
Is Brian Tully taking notes?
No.
He's a state trooper interviewing a witness, and
He was-
Objection.
Oh,
Sustained.
she's so calm.
The same report that has you at Michael Lang's house
Mhm.
also has you picking up Nicole Albert going by 34 Fairview just before you went.
I'm telling you, most of the time, Christine, from what I heard, it's just buried. He's defeated. It's funny. A couple of weeks back, I think the first week of trial, I was out streaming outside the courtroom. I was with Tom CPU. I love Tom. He's always out. Such a sweet guy. We were out there and we were walking around, and Tom was kind of taking me the dime tour around the neighborhood. And we just get there and watch Lally walk into court to get ready, and he was already defeated after like 4 or 5 days of testimony. He had his head buried, walking to the courtroom looking like he didn't even want to be, like, guy didn't want to be there. He's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to show up anymore. Where do I tap out? Where's the button to push to say, all right, I'm out, or where's my tag team partner? I want to tag out. I want out of here. He's so defeated.
To Michael Lang's house.
All right.
You aware of that?
We did not pick up Nicole Albert.
So you went by 34 Fairview, then diverted.
Ripping
And right
butts.
after you went by 34 Fairview, went directly over to Michael Lang's house. What was the reason that you stopped by 34 Fairview first?
We didn't stop by. Maybe Carrie slowed down, but we did not stop by 34.
So you did a drive-by 34 Fairview for giggles? What?
No, that's how we get to Michael Lang's house.
If the report shows that you actually stopped at 34 Fairview and then went to Michael Lang's house, would we have another oh my gosh moment?
Nope, no oh my gosh moment. We did not pick up Nicole Albert.
Did anybody else go with you over to Michael Lang's house?
No, it was Carrie, myself, and her daughter.
Your Honor, maybe approach briefly.
Okay.
The Shaaawk Horrrraah. The Shaaawk Horrrraah campaign.
And they're taking a sidebar here. And again, we're at the very end of the day for
January 29th. Do you recall that
Yes.
conversation? I want to focus your attention on or at 12:14 a.m., moving up to about 12:50 a.m. You have that time in mind?
Yes,
You've seen the celebrate extraction from John O'Keefe's phone, which Mr. Lally showed you the other day, correct?
correct.
And you went through the series of phone calls that were made and that appear on his extraction report, correct?
Correct.
I just want to run through those time-wise very quickly just to orient you if I can, and then I'll ask you some specific questions about it. There was a call at 12:14 a.m., correct?
Correct.
That was a call that you indicated was answered. You had a conversation.
I love this. Because essentially, Jackson's going to read down her phone records of all the calls that were made. He's going to parallel that to John because she reached out to John. But then she went back and deleted those calls. And he's going to say, well, why does it show up on John's phone, but it doesn't show up on yours because you deleted them?
Conversation with Mr. O'Keefe.
Correct.
It was a call at 12:18 and 47 seconds. That call also was
He continues to lie about black and white data right in front of her. Again, we go back to 623, 624, and 624. Jen says, oh no, those Google searches happened because Karen was looking at me and telling me, how does someone die? You know, how long for someone to die of hypothermia in the cold? Oh, I was shaking and I have MS and you know, it was cold and Karen was pulling my arm. She says those searches are valid, but the 227 one didn't happen, but they were all validated by the same software, Celebrite. All validated by the same. That 227 didn't happen, but the other searches after that happened. Unbelievable. All right, we'll keep going.
was answered by you. John O'Keefe made that phone call, correct?
Correct.
Then there's the 12:29 and 44-second call that you indicated was not answered.
Correct.
And that was a call to you, from you to him.
Correct.
There was a 12:41 call from you to John O'Keefe, correct? That was
Correct.
There was a 12:41 and 54-second call from you to him. Is that right?
Correct.
There was a 12:43 and 19-second call from you to him.
Correct.
12:46 a.m. and 16 seconds from you to him.
Correct.
12:47 and 52 seconds from you to him.
Correct.
And 12:50 and 37 seconds from you to him, correct?
Correct.
You saw in his extraction report that all of those calls after 12:18 were missed calls, correct?
In his report that you showed me?
Correct. In other words, the only two calls that were answered were the 12:14 and 12:18. Everything else was a missed call.
I believe so. I would have to refer to it again because I've seen so many reports.
And Ms. McCabe, according to the extraction reports that you've seen this morning, comparing yours to his, every single one of those calls was deleted off your phone. Correct? According to the reports.
It's right there.
According to that report, yes.
Yeah, let's just do this for Jen. Okay, I'm gonna play this for Jen, so Jen understands. Okay, let's play this for Jen so Jen understands.
It makes absolutely no sense. That is the Commonwealth grasping at straws. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much for the $5. So thank you for covering this trial and supporting Karen Reed's court fees. Absolutely. And we've done a lot to raise a lot of money for Karen Reed's defense fund. And there's a lot of people that are helping and contributing. And I love all those people that have been doing that. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's help Karen Reed out in any way that we can. Peggy with the big $20 memberships dropped in the chat. Welcome all new members there. I appreciate that, Peggy. Thank you for the gifted memberships and enjoy that 1 month on Peggy. And all I ask you to do is at the end of that month, when that term rolls over, if you can just sign back and continue to support LTL Media, and you don't even have to sign up for the $4.99. I have $1.99 levels. You can get that, and it gives you access to all my exclusive content on the homepage. All right, let's keep playing through here. Thank you, Peggy. That's very, very kind to you. All right, let's go.
Let me ask you another question. Have you ever misplaced your phone?
Yes.
Just in life, everybody does it, right?
Yes.
What's one of the first things you do if you're with your daughter or your husband or a friend and you're in your house and you misplace your phone? What do you do?
Oh, I'll ask them to call my phone.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Even over and over and over, right?
Correct.
Oh.
Could be as many as 5, 6, 7 times.
Usually I hear it the first or second time.
You're looking for a buzz or a ring, isn't that right?
Correct.
And you might do that
No, you can
if
comment.
you're searching for a missing phone, correct?
Correct.
With regard to the calls that were deleted from your phone, you were asked about this under oath at another proceeding, weren't you?
Correct.
Yeah, this
And
is
you
great.
claimed at another proceeding that you had an explanation for all these missed calls starting at 12:29, 12:41, 12:41, 12:43, 12:46, 12:47, 12:50. You have an explanation for that, right?
Oof.
Can I see the report?
You need to see it because you need
I'm
to
asking you
figure it
about your
out.
prior testimony.
And I'm asking,
About these calls,
yes, I'm asking, can I see it, please?
I'm asking you a different question. At your other at this other proceeding, which you were under oath,
Yes.
right? You explained that these calls were what? These missed calls, incessant missed calls. What were they? You used a word. Matter of fact, 2 words.
I believe I used the word butt dials.
You claimed that every one of these calls.
Want to hear a funny story? The other day, so I go to bed, I put my phone next to me, I might listen to a podcast or YouTube video or something, and that kind of puts me asleep. I kid you not. I woke up the other day, and this is like literally never happened. My phone slid down off my second pillow and ended up under my butt. And when I woke up, I literally said, I looked up and I went, butt dial. That's all I could say was butt dial. All right, let's
was a
go.
butt dial. Is that right?
Yes.
$5. Add that.
So
Happy
according to
holidays.
you literally butt
$5
dialed
total. Thank you.
John O'Keefe's phone
Nothing-
6 times in the span of 19 minutes.
Thank you.
Is that right?
I don't remember making any of those calls. So my assumption is I put my phone in my back pocket and that was it.
When you dial someone by mistake, you hit a button, set your phone down, the phone has to be open. You'll agree with that, right?
Correct.
Can't be locked because it takes several iterations of movement to get a phone open. Face ID or password, right?
Correct.
So when you hit the button by mistake, walk away, that's a butt dial.
That's an old name I haven't seen. Minnesota. Good to see you here. I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Very good to see you. Nice to see you. Andrea, thank you so much. Says butt dials again. Jen, ma'am, just stop. Let's add 10 to the total. Thank you so much for the super chat. Super duper 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 chat. All right, let's go.
Call butt dials. What happens with the call?
I assume it goes to voicemail.
Good assumption, because that's exactly what it does, isn't it? You've had a phone for a lot of years, right?
Yes.
It rings and rings and rings until it goes to voicemail.
Correct.
So in order to hang up that butt dial, you have to interact with that phone yet again, don't you?
Yes.
So if you had 6 butt dials, I think it's 7 butt dials. You not only have to interact with the phone once to butt dial, John, you then have to interact with it every single time to turn off that phone ringer so it doesn't go to voicemail, wouldn't you?
I suppose.
Which makes 14 interfaces with that phone over the course of 19 minutes. Is that right?
I mean, I guess I don't have it all right in front of me, but there were also text messages I was sending. So again, maybe I said, oh, shoot, I called them and then I turned it off.
But your claim is you don't remember those incessant butt dials and those incessant hangups at all, correct?
I honestly don't.
So you would have had to forget that you interacted with, by the way, you'll agree that the phone extraction shows that John O'Keefe got no voicemails from you, right?
I didn't look, but
Oh, Jackson.
So that means you would have had to interact with that phone 14 times over the course of 19 minutes at the exact time frame
You're right, Jerry.
that the Commonwealth suggests John O'Keefe lost his life.
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask that differently, and this will be your last question for today, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The period between 12:29 and 12:50, which is the exact period that you were, quote, butt dialing John multiple times, that's also the exact period that John O'Keefe
Let's talk live.
was rendered incapacitated. Isn't that right?
Objection.
That's sustained. We'll start up again tomorrow, okay?
Right. We'll go on to other testimony here. Thank you all for being here. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't done that already. we will continue. This is the controversial Google searches where Jen's going to say that 623, 624, and 624 happened. Those all happened, but 227 did not happen. I love this. This is great. And Jackson sets this up masterfully. Liz, thank you so much for the $5. We'll add that to the total. And 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed tonight. One of my moderators, Rogue, will jump. 272, 25% will get kicked back. Thank you. I love when Jen says, honestly, it's so fake. Or the shock and horror. The shock and horror. All right, let's go.
Data shows that you were engaging with an app called Safari to engage some Google searches, correct?
Yes.
That would be generally accurate as well, correct?
Yes.
So after you opened up Safari, you indicated that you Google searched something about Ozone basketball. Is that right?
Yes.
That was sometime after 2 a.m., right?
Yes.
What was so important about Ozone basketball at 2 a.m. that it couldn't wait until the morning? Why did you search it then?
Well, first
Here's what's interesting. You notice Jen McCabe, before she starts her testimony here, she looks at Lally. It's almost like, save me, say something here, watch her eyes. She drifts to Lally. Watch this.
2 a.m. that it couldn't wait until the morning. Why did you search it then?
Boom, right there.
Well, first I was home. I was wide
This is part of the rehearsal, because you can tell she's rehearsed this. She's been waiting. And this is kind of like, you're either Lally, you're going to jump up and say anything? No. All right. I'm going to go. I'm going to roll here. Ready? Let's just go back and watch that again really quick. Watch this.
Basketball at 2 a.m. that it couldn't wait until the morning. Why did you search it then?
Well, first I was home. I was wide awake, and I had been texting about a basketball chat, and basketball was clearly on my mind. My daughter had been
and I'm going to swear, this is so fucking rehearsed. They've gone over this over and over and over and over again.
About a basketball
at 2 a.m. that it couldn't wait until the morning. Why did you search it then?
Well, first I was home. I was wide awake, and I had been texting about a basketball chat, and basketball was clearly on my mind. My daughter had been invited to join a team. I didn't know much about the team, so I just was like Googling to see, because the woman who had given my daughter the offer had wanted an answer.
So you say that basketball was on your mind, correct?
Yes.
Was there anything else on your mind in that early morning hour time frame?
He knows where he's getting
Don't believe
at.
so.
Ms. McCabe, if you wanted to know in general how long it takes for a human being to pass away because of exposure to extreme temperatures, right? If you wanted to know the answer to that, what would you Google search? What phrase would you use?
Say it, Jen.
I'm not sure. All I recall is what the defendant asked me to Google in the morning.
If you wanted to know, I'm asking a different question. If you personally wanted to know, how long does it take for a person to die of exposure due to extreme temperatures? What would you put in? What phrase would you use?
Objection.
Sustained.
Well, we don't have to guess at the phrase that you would use if you wanted to know something about dying of hypothermia.
Real quick, Kazoo, thank you so much for the 10 on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's go. And Ashley, new member. We'll use we'll just bump that up to a $5 membership. Thank you, Ashley, for supporting LTL True Crime. I said True Crime, my old name. LTL Media. Come on, Jen, because you Googled it.
Hypothermia, do we? Did you actually Google searched it?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask that differently, please.
Did you, in fact, use a phrase to Google search how long it takes for someone to die of extreme temperatures?
I did in the morning at the request of your client.
And what phrase did you use?
I'm not sure.
Really?
Correct. I was
2.5 years of this, you don't know the phrase that you used?
Objection,
Right.
Your Honor.
Sustained.
there's so many lies and misconceptions on social media.
Question.
Oh, I apologize.
Social media's fault.
Are you telling me you don't
So
remember?
she's going to say that the black and white data that Jackson's going to show her all through the Celebrite extraction, 227, 623, 624, 624, those three from 623 to 24, those are okay. Those are fine. But 227 didn't happen. Okay, Jack.
What Google search you put in?
Karen was screaming. My hands were shaking. And she was saying, Google hypothermia. How long does it take to die in the cold?
And what phrase did you put in
Say
your
it.
phone? I'm just asking you to say it.
Why don't you show me it?
You literally don't remember?
Again, she was screaming, Google hypothermia. How long does it take to die in the cold?
How about,
And I picked up my phone and I started Googling.
and you literally
Crazy.
to this day, right now, under oath, you're saying you don't remember that phrase that you used.
Objection.
I'll
She's
allow it.
crazy.
Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that at her
Do you remember it or do you not, Miss McCabe? That's a simple question.
that morning, I don't remember specifically what I Googled, but I do know what you've put
She's
out to the
crazy.
social media.
How about this?
What you put out.
Costs long to die in cold. Does that sound
Get it out
familiar?
Yeah, it's been
Why
everywhere
does that sound so familiar?
because you've put it out in social media.
Well, I haven't put anything out in social media because I don't personally have social media.
I'm sorry, Turtle Boy did.
So if the world
Oh.
happens to know it,
Mhm.
that's not on me, is it?
You know what? You know why Turtle Boy put it out there, Jen? Because you Googled it. And everything that Turtle Boy has put out there has been correct, Jen. You Googled it. You Googled it. Stop. Stop.
Guess not.
I guess not. Costs long to die in cold is what you put in to the Google search, right?
If you say so.
Is there a reason that you don't want to admit to that?
Absolutely not.
It's a simple question, right?
No reason.
So say it. What Google search did you use?
Objection.
Sustained.
Pause here for a second. Nikki G with a large super chat. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind to you. A 99.99er. We're going to round it up to $100. Thank you. We're going to add that to the total. We're at $387 and 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed's Defense Fund. And just to let everybody know, because I know we've gained a lot of people that have come into the room, what I do afterwards is I will post receipts on my YouTube community page, and I will post a receipt on my LTL Media Facebook page. Also, for complete transparency, you can go right to Karen Reed's Defense Fund website, and you can look at recent donations, and it will say LTL Media Chat Raiser, and I will put the date 5/23/24, and the total that I call out at the end of the stream will get donated towards her defense fund. All right, let's keep going. Thank you, Nikki G. Very kind of you.
You were seeking at
You're
some
right.
point to Google how long to
You are
die in
right.
the cold, correct?
Correct.
And you made a mistake and mistakenly typed "How long to die in cold," correct?
If you could show me it, I'd appreciate it.
Why do you need to see it? You Googled it.
You later Google searched. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
God. This is like so frustrating. I right? Dan? I mean, she's so frustrating. We're going to continue with this. And now
Thank
we're
you.
going to get the Celebrite document.
While she looks at that, Mr. Jackson, can we bring our clerk back upstairs?
She's going to get
Of
the
course,
Celebrite
yes. I
document.
think we're-
He's going to show
She's-
her.
Thank you very much. Can you text Jimmy and
And I'm
tell
going
him?
to tell you, when the defense gets a Celebrite expert, and I'm sure they got one, that will come up and confirm all of this and nail her to the wall with this. I'm telling you. She's going to be roasted. Yeah, look it over,
Take a
Jen.
look at that
Try to
report and
figure
tell
out
me
the
if
lie.
refresh your recollection.
JPC, thank you for becoming a rookie detective. I appreciate it. We'll round that up to a $5.
Yes, it
membership,
does.
please.
Does that appear to be an accurate page from a Celebrite extraction from your phone?
It does.
Okay. May I have that back? I'm sorry, Coach.
Yes.
May I have that back for a second?
Yes.
Did you see this, the actual search phrase? Does
Yes.
that now refresh your recollection?
Yes.
But I'd like to have this marked as next in order. Exhibit, please.
Is there an objection, Mr. Lally?
No, Your Honor.
Jim?
Well, because we know he told the truth. Turner Boyd put the truth out, exposed all these people for what they are. They're liars, they're corrupt, and they will stop at nothing to continue to hold together this high priest and priestess, ivory tower that all these people think they stand on in Canton. This is all to protect their social circle. They don't want anybody to infiltrate it. They want to be the top shit in Canton, and they're all connected. The McCabe's and the Alberts are all connected in this, and they're connected to all these law enforcement people that have taken over this investigation, all the EMS workers. They know every single one of these people. If you're not seeing it, with almost 4 weeks in the testimony here, people, if you're not seeing it, you need to wake up. And I get emails and I get messages. I'm the crazy person in all of this. I'm the crazy person. They call me crazy. This right here should tell you what is going on. You have black and white data, a Google search that happened, and she's sitting there with the paper in front of her, and she's saying, no, it didn't happen. I mean, what do you think we are? We're dumb? I mean, come on. It happened. You did it. You did it.
Yeah.
And Jackson's going to burn her here on it.
May I?
Yes.
Smoke.
Is
Yeah,
that
circle the
Madam
truck.
Court Reporter? I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to publish this, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
I love this. This is massive. It's right there. Black and white. Yes. And it said she deleted
Does this
it.
appear to be the document
The
that
only
was just
check.
marked as Exhibit 99?
Yes.
I know it's a little bit small, Mr. Stacy. You see
Look at her.
this column,
Yes.
third column from the, actually it's the fourth column from the left. One, some dates, some data, and then a Google search, correct?
Correct.
What does that Google search say?
House long to die in cold.
Now, you indicate that you did that, you made that search at 6:23 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And then you indicated that you did it again thereafter at 6:24, correct?
Correct.
At 6:24, you misspelled the phrase and you spelled it as follows: how long T-I die in C-I-K-D, correct?
Correct.
Now you claim that those two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m. respectively, correct?
Objection.
Phrase it differently.
Sure. You've indicated under direct examination that these two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m., right?
I don't know if I gave exact times, but I said it was in the morning and Karen had asked me to do it.
And
Yeah,
you,
Gary.
exactly. You claimed that you searched it because Karen was screaming at you and yelling at you, Google hypothermia, and you Googled how long does it take for a person to die? I'm sorry, she said something like, how long does it take for a person to die of hypothermia? And you Google searched it at 6:23 and 6:24. Is that right?
Again, I'm not sure about the exact times. I just did it after Karen asked me to do it.
Would you quarrel with the idea that those were about 30 seconds apart?
Okay.
And you're aware, Ms. McCabe, that both spellings, both misspellings of that phrase result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I'm not aware of that. No.
Well, you Googled them, ma'am. You're looking on your phone and you Googled Hoss long to die in cold, and how long to die in CIKD.
Right.
Both of those. You Google them, right?
I did, yes.
And they result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I have no idea.
So my question to you is, why the two searches?
Yeah.
She was standing next to me screaming, shaking my hand. My hand was cold. I was trying to Google it. Obviously,
I have MS.
maybe whatever came up first didn't make sense because I had some misspellings. So I did it again.
So Haslam to die in cold results in articles concerning dying of exposure, doesn't it?
We never got the chance.
Bob, thank you so much for the $50, I think it's Cash App or Venmo. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we'll add that to the total as well. Thank you for that donation. I think it was either Venmo or Cash App. Thank you. Laura says she's a new watcher. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe, Laura. Appreciate it. So after this trial, I'll have time to check out more of your stuff. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got about 1,600, just over 1,600 in the chat. Please make sure to smash the like button. We get 1,000 likes on this video alone. It would be fantastic. Again, we're on the eve of testimony resuming tomorrow, and Brian Higgins is supposed to be on the stand. All right, we're going to do a little bit more review of Jennifer McCabe's testimony, and then I do want to check in with last night's Court TV segment with Vinnie Politan, because I always love to see what Nick Rocco has to say, and Plevin, Yellow Cottage Tales. So we'll check that out. All right, here we go.
Chance to read it.
Well, you're the one, when you say we, who's we?
Karen and myself.
Well, you're the one holding the phone, Ms. McCabe.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're looking down at your phone and you see exactly what comes up, right?
You wrote.
I don't remember exactly what came up.
Well, what came up was something about dying of hypothermia, didn't it?
Oh, and let everybody know I am streaming tomorrow, so come over and hang out. My style is I just let the stream play. I may make a comment or have quick commentary. I don't pause it. I like to just go all the way through, and I do boost the sound. I use a sound booster so you can hear everything in the chat. So join me tomorrow. My stream's going to start at 8:50 in the morning. And all you need to do is at the end of the stream, when it ends, it's going to take you right over to that stream and you can set your reminder. So I will be streaming court tomorrow. All right, let's keep playing on, players.
That's what she asked.
So why do it again? Why do it again, Ms. McCabe? You had the result.
Thank you, Jamie.
Why the second search?
I cannot answer that beyond telling you that my hands were frozen. She was shaking me and screaming at me.
Horror.
And you see the time, let me scroll up, please.
Shaaawk and Horrrraah.
According to the Celebrate data,
I'm going to bounce over here. So
you see this first search that says Haslam to die in cold?
I do.
Times it out. See that?
What's that time?
See this right here? It says deleted. Yes, she deleted it. She deleted it. It was stored in a file and she deleted it. You can see where the file source is. This was stored on the phone. It's in the library of the Safari browser. It's in the cache. And she deleted it. And the reason she deleted it is she went back later in that morning, and Jackson's going to say this, you went back later in that morning and Googled it again to make it cover up for this 227. She's caught red-handed.
You've got the, it's right over at 2:27
AM or PM?
a.m.
Ms. McCabe, you made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
Absolutely not. I did not make that search at that time. No.
Realized the next morning, after John was discovered, after 6 a.m., that you had an incriminating search on your phone, didn't you?
Absolutely not.
To cover your tracks, you searched it again in order to overwrite the original search at 2:27, correct?
Again, absolutely
Why
not.
is she looking at the jury?
But you were nervous and you screwed it up. So the first search you made at 6:23 was Hoslong to die in CIKD, wasn't it?
No.
When you see the search
Pulls it up again.
right there, correct?
I see the search, but I disagree with your narrative.
And what's the time frame of that search?
6:23.
And you agree that that time frame is accurate, right?
Again, it's what the report says.
Well,
And that comports with your memory of that morning, about 6:23 in the morning and 51 seconds.
Correct.
There's a second search, correct?
Correct.
And this one, at 6:24, it says Hoslong to die in cold.
she went back and repeated it.
6:24:16, correct?
Correct.
I'm sorry, 18. I was up that great. And that comports with your memory as well.
I remember Googling it at the request of the defendant. Yes.
About 27 seconds apart, correct?
Yes.
But the reality is, your first search didn't comport with the 2:27 a.m. search, did it? It was a different spelling, wasn't it?
I never searched to 227. That is not reality.
But the 6:24 search
You did,
Did.
right? Right.
exactly mirror the search that, according to this report, took place at 2:27, correct?
Oh, and by the way, whose husband's an IT guy? And what does Brian Albert Jr. do? Let me throw that in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Whose husband's an IT guy, and what does Brian Albert Jr. do? Let's add this to the total. $5. I'm not buying that she doesn't know how to delete stuff on her phone. Come on. Exactly, Aaron. Exactly. 100%. Who else is in IT? Jen's husband. Who else is in IT? They said it on the stand. They said it on the stand. All right, let's go.
I'm sure Celebrate will be able to
Junior,
explain it
that's
to you.
right.
I can't.
And then of those three searches, one
Yep.
of them ended up deleted. Isn't that right?
I never deleted any search.
Oh my God, this is almost so frustrating.
Take a look
Frustrating.
at the Celebrate report.
Yeah.
Top search, and the column marked deleted. What do you see?
I see a yes.
Let me take this down. Ms. McCabe, the reason you deleted that 2:27 a.m. call is because you realized that if you were caught Googling how long it takes for a person to die in the cold 3.5 hours before John's body was found, that would incriminate you, wouldn't it?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Did you delete that search because you knew that you would be implicated in John O'Keefe's death if that search was found on your phone?
Objection.
I'll let you. Could you answer that, please?
I did not delete that search. I never made that search at 2:23. I never would have left John O'Keefe out in the cold to die because he was my friend that I loved.
Oh, that's right, Jen. John was your friend that you loved. And I will go back to the 911 call. Your friend that you loved that was dead or dying on that front lawn. You never get out of the car. You never mentioned my friend, Officer John O'Keefe, and you never said officer down on that call. You are evil, completely evil. You're not his friend. You said a guy. There's a guy. Let's back up a little bit and replay this.
Phone.
Objection.
I'll let you. Could you answer that,
Whoa.
please?
I did not delete that search. I never made that search at 2:23. I never would have left John O'Keefe out in the cold to die because he was my friend that I loved.
But he's not your family, is he?
Family and friends.
Is he not
Objection.
your...
Sustained.
You acknowledge that you made the search at 6:23, don't you?
In the morning, I did, yes.
Acknowledge that you made the search at 6:24.
Multiple times in the morning,
Right.
yes.
Of the 3 searches that show up that were all found on your phone, the one that you disavow
It's 2:27.
is the one that took place at 2:27 a.m., which would
She kind of looks like Arlene Wuornos, the serial killer. When the eyes come out, you know who I'm talking about? Eileen Wuornos, that's that movie Monster. The eyes, she gets crazy.
implicate you and exonerate my client, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Can I ask it differently, Mr. Jackson?
Thanks for the 2. Add it to the total.
Of those
Up to
3
the work
searches,
LPL. Thank you.
there was only one marked deleted.
Wuornos, right?
Isn't that right?
Correct.
That was the one at 2:27 a.m., correct?
I wouldn't even know how to go in and delete a
That's not what I
search.
asked you. The one according to the Celebrate report that was deleted, the one at 2:27 a.m., correct?
Correct.
You'd agree that that's awfully convenient for you, isn't it?
Objection.
Sustained.
You're smiling.
Now-
Just so this stays fresh in my mind, and I'll keep this. But you got to look at this. She looks like Arlene Wuornos. Where is it? Look at this. There it is, right there. There it is, right there. She literally looks like that. Look it. Oh, all right. Let's go back to Jennifer McCabe on the stand.
With reference to you get home from Fairview
Renee, thanks for
around
the
2 a.m.
five.
or somewhere in
It's
that
like
time
Scott
frame.
from Goonies, like
You go
it's
up to
school
bed and you do some searches on your phone, correct?
Correct.
And so there's a Safari tablet
Arlene
or an
Wuornos?
application on your phone. That's where you access Google.
Yes.
Is that typically where you would access Google?
Yes.
And you were looking at Ozone basketball. You're also looking at Hockamonk. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained.
What, if anything else, were you looking at beyond the Ozone basketball you talked about?
All right, I want to hear Lally. He'll lull me asleep here. Let's get checked in with the Court TV segment from last night. I'm curious to see what they said over there. All right, let's see. Vinnie Politan, closing arguments. We'll get to hear from Nick Rocco. We'll hear Plevin from Yellow Cottage Tales. We'll hang out a little bit and listen to this here.
Vinnie Politan, thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And this was, I'm a broken record. It's another big day, but this is an extremely important day, perhaps the most contentious day yet of this trial involving Karen Read. And on the top of it all is a Google search. And I want to go back in time a little bit to the first trial on Court TV where a Google search was a key piece of evidence. It was a case where a guy named Mucko McDermott, who happened to be in Massachusetts, was claiming legal insanity. Yet prosecutors found on his computer a search on how to fake mental illness. Now, this was many years ago. Many of you may remember that trial. But for me and for Court TV, it was the first time that a Google search was like the centerpiece of the trial. And now it's sort of ordinary, right? It's part of evidence, your digital footprint, what you're searching on your computer, what you're looking at on your phone, all becomes part of all these trials. But now we get to this case involving Karen Read, and we get to, I think, the biggest Google search since Mucko McDermott, which is a search done by...
You think Vinny knows? You think Vinny knows? Put it in the chat. You think Vinny knows? Put a Y if you think Vinny knows. We'll put an N if you don't think he knows. I think Vinny knows. I'd put a Y there.
Jennifer McCabe. And the question isn't really what did she search? It's when did she Google? What was the time of this search? The search is for how long to die in the cold. Now, she says she did it in the morning because when they were at the scene and they found John O'Keefe, Karen Read is telling her, search hypothermia, how long it takes to die in the cold. That's what she's saying happened, and that's why she says she searched it. And that's what the experts for the prosecution are going to say about the time. It's in the morning when John O'Keefe is found in the cold. But the defense says, no, it happened way before then, more than 3 hours before that. 2:27 a.m. And that's what their experts are going to say. And this is important because if it's at 2:27, it's a much different scenario. John O'Keefe's body hasn't been discovered. So if you're searching this at 2:27, it's because you're curious about what's going to happen to a guy who was just put out on the front lawn in the cold. So it's about when the search was done, not exactly what the search was of, because there's sort of an agreement there about what the search was, right? Now, this search, this alleged 2:27 a.m. search, is what really launched the Free Karen Read movement. It's a big part of the defense, but it's really the cornerstone of the movement as well. And now, after what happened in court today and what this jury heard, I think one of the questions a lot of people are asking are, did these Karen Read supporters, did they go too far in what they did? Because the allegations from Jennifer McCabe on the witness stand today became evidence in the case about what she says happened to her and her family at the hands of Karen Read supporters. Ooh. And it was interesting because now the jury's hearing about what the Karen Read supporters are saying and doing, yet there's a court order to keep them 200 feet away from the courthouse. With all this happening, the cross-examination of Jennifer McCabe today, it got very personal. It was very, very contentious.
I'm loving this.
Let's take you inside the courtroom.
All right, let's see. Yeah,
You didn't tell Sergeant Blank that my client said I hit him. What you said was that my client said, I hope I didn't hit him. Correct?
No.
You thought that Reed may have made these same statements in front of a police officer, but she was not sure, meaning you were not sure. Right?
I was not sure if she made what the police officers may have heard. That report is his recollection. My recollection is I told him that she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. We received letters, we received emails, we received calls. People drive by our house. There was a rolling rally outside of my house where people just screamed at us. They take pictures of our children. They took a picture of my daughter and put semen on it and said property of some named blogger that I think the defense is very familiar with.
So you were upset about the public outrage concerning your family's involvement in the death of John O'Keefe.
100%.
I was outraged because I am a state witness that is being tortured because of lies.
Because of public outrage concerning your family's involvement in the death of a police officer, correct?
No, it's a social media witch hunt.
Did you, in fact, use a phrase to Google search how long it takes for someone to die of extreme temperatures?
I did in the morning at the request of your client.
Okay. And what phrase did you use?
I'm not sure.
Are you telling me you don't remember what Google search you put in?
Karen was screaming, my hands were shaking, and she was saying, Google hypothermia, how long does it take to die in the cold?
And what phrase did you put in your phone? I'm just asking you to say it.
Why don't you show me it?
How about this? Hoss long to die in cold. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's been everywhere.
Why does that sound so familiar?
Because you put it out in social media.
You made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
Absolutely not. I did not make that search at that time. No.
You realized the next morning, after John was discovered, after 6 a.m., that you had an incriminating search on your phone, didn't you?
Absolutely not.
And then of those 3 searches, one of them ended up deleted. Isn't that right?
I never deleted any search.
Now, you were asked some questions with regard to the Google search. Again, that was initiated after 6 a.m. Why again?
Because Miss Reed asked me to Google how long to die from hypothermia. She said, Google hypothermia, Google how long it takes to die in the cold. She was shaking me, screaming at me to do it.
So in the frantic of that moment, and the funny thing is, we never heard that once through the entirety of the 911 call. You would think that Karen probably would have said it in that moment as well, too, when she's trying to provide life-saving measures to John, when she's frantically running around. That probably would be when she would want that type of information. We didn't hear that once. But when it wasn't recorded, when it was away from everything else, that's when supposedly it happened. That's when Karen supposedly turned to Jen and said, Google this. Okay.
He dated a lot of people. My husband, whenever he would go on a date with somebody, he would have my husband come meet them, sort of say, like, what do you think? And he had a couple of girlfriends that were very nice.
So you answered the phone sometime right around 5 a.m. and you described to the jury sort of what the content of that conversation was.
I answered the phone and she said, John's dead. Carrie. And then she hung up. And she said, I'm afraid John might be dead. He might have gotten hit by a plow. He did not come home last night. Karen said that she remembered leaving him at Waterfall. And Jen said, no, I saw you pull up to my sister's house. And then...
Now remember, this is when Karen supposedly got out and had the conversation with Jennifer, and they pointed at the tail light. Never even happened.
At some point in the conversation, she said, what about my tail light? What about my tail light? And I looked, and there was a piece missing.
All right, let's bring in Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, who's live from outside the courthouse where it's all happening in Dedham, Massachusetts. Matt, great to see you tonight. What another day. Let's talk about Jennifer McCabe's cross-examination. This was contentious. This was heated. It seemed personal.
It really did, Vinny. Nice to see you. And it was the moment that we were all waiting for. Jen McCabe, a key witness for the Commonwealth, on the stand 3 days. 2 of those days in a row, she's on cross-examination. And yes, very heated. The jurors listening very closely. So was Karen Reed when she was on the stand today. And it also appeared like she didn't even want to answer the question as to what she typed that day, regardless of what time it happened, 2:27 or after John O'Keefe's body was found. This is what she said on the stand.
She didn't say anything.
Did you, in fact, use a phrase to Google search how long it takes for someone to die of extreme temperatures?
I did in the morning at the request of your client.
Okay. And what phrase did you use?
I'm not sure.
Really?
Correct. I was
2.5 years of this, you don't know the phrase that you used?
Objection, Your Honor.
There's so many lies and misconceptions on social media.
Oh, it's social media.
And Vinny, there was a lot of people that also brought up what you just did about people thinking that this was actually personal, how she's pointing the finger at Alan Jackson, who's asking the questions, and also looking over at the defendant at the table over there and saying that she confessed. And also she made a point here where she says Karen Reed knew exactly what we were going to find at 34 Fairview. That's why she wanted to go there. Take a listen.
Horrified.
You were asked on that morning, January 29th, 2022, as you drove to the location and ultimately to 34 Fairview, what ultimately happened?
Ashley, thank you for the 2. We'll add that to the total. 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed tonight. She said, huge free Karen Reed fan. Love your show. I love that you're here hanging out with us on this Thursday night. We get about 1,700 total in the chat. Let's make sure to smash the like button and subscribe. All right, let's go. And just to remind everybody, tomorrow I will stream the trial. I'm going to start at 8:50 in the morning, so come hang out. Come hang out. I will be here. All right, let's go.
And your testimony was, as you approached, my client was searching frantically for John O'Keefe.
I don't believe I said she was searching frantically for John O'Keefe.
Searching frantically.
She was screaming frantically in the back seat and texting in the back seat.
Was she just sitting there, curled up in the back seat, sucking her thumb, or was she searching out the window?
She was screaming between Kerry and I. So I'm not really sure how she saw John over here when her head is up here screaming and then looking down and texting.
Was the whole point of that trip, Ms. McCabe, to search for John?
It was, because she knew where he was.
The whole point of that trip was to look for him, correct?
She directed us to go to 34 Fairview.
The whole point of the trip.
Well, that would make sense, Jen. And I made this analogy. I've said this a couple of times. I had Tom CPU on my stream. We had a great stream very early this morning. We were talking. And I said, Tom, if you and I went out to a bar and we went and got a couple of drinks and we went out in separate cars and you left and I left, and the next morning someone calls me and says, Tom didn't come home last night. Well, where would be the first place that I would go to go look for Tom? I would go back to the bar, and then I would ask the people that work there, did anybody see him leave last night? Did anybody notice that he left with anybody? Is there any cameras outside? And then, of course, call the authorities as well. But, I mean, that would make more sense. Let's go back to the last place that I left my boyfriend. He didn't come home from that place last night. You go to the last location that someone was at, that you remember either dropping them off or remember seeing them at, to check if they're there. I wouldn't go to Disney World. You know, hey, Tom's missing. I left him at the bar last night. Oh, I might as well get on a plane and go to Disney World to see if he's there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Trip was to look for John, correct?
At 34 Fairview, where Karen said to go.
And things in that courtroom were also heated when she was addressing the fact that she says her family has been harassed and other witnesses of the Commonwealth. And also when she was questioned about her relationship with the Proctors, how many times she's talked to them, and how many times she got together with Kerry Roberts.
Let's talk about Kerry Roberts, because she also testified today.
Yeah, that was a big moment. It wasn't a long testimony. She was on the stand. She was very emotional at times, and she was really talking about the loss of her friend. She knew John O'Keefe for many years before he died, before he dated Karen Reed. And then, you know, we had heard so much about her, of her being a talker, what she said before and after John O'Keefe was found, what she said about Karen Reed and their relationship, her thoughts.
Real quick, $10 cash app. John, thank you so much for the 10. He says, how can you just lie about what you Google? Right, it's there. It's black and white. We'll add 10 for the total. Thank you, John. All right, let's
on that. But we heard that from Jen McCabe. I want you to hear it.
She was horrified.
She said something like, John really loved Amy, and in my eyes, Karen was just a babysitter with benefits.
She said that was what horrified her, Jen McCabe. So we were all waiting for what that answer might be. Don't remember Kerry talking about it on the stand, but what she did talk about was very important as well, because she's there as one of the 3 women that find John O'Keefe at 34 Fairview after they're searching for him. She's talking about what Karen Reed had told her allegedly, and also the statements that she's made. And then she makes the statement as to what was found underneath John O'Keefe and what the grass or the ground looked like. Take a listen.
Horrified.
Mr. O'Keefe is taken from where he is by the paramedics to an ambulance, correct?
Yes.
And as he's being taken off the ground, what, if anything, did you observe in that area?
His phone was under him, and it was grass.
Now, as far as the grass that you observed, how is that in relation to sort of the rest of the area where Mr. O'Keefe was?
Everything else had snow.
Now, all of the attorneys ask all of the first responders and the people that were at the scene the conditions when they left the house, when they arrived at the house. So all of that is now in the minds of the jury as they're piecing together their version of events. And another thing that was really important with this particular witness is she was talking about the fact that the fact that she wasn't crossed. And Alan Jackson was asked about that at the courthouse steps here after court today. And he said there was no need to cross her because she was a better witness for the defense than she was for the Commonwealth. We would have called her had they not.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Okay, one or maybe two more witnesses I want you to talk about. We heard their names early on. The Sullivan sisters. Who are the Sullivan sisters?
Longtime friends of John O'Keefe and the O'Keefe family. So the Sullivan sisters, they were both on the stand today. Really key testimony. So this was Lauren and Marietta Sullivan, both family friends of John O'Keefe. John was godfather of Lauren's son. And they testified about a fight that happened that they witnessed between Karen Reed and John O'Keefe weeks before his death over the New Year's holiday in Aruba.
That's what you're going to go on? So because of that fight, that adds up to second-degree murder? You got to be fucking kidding me. Like, this is what the Commonwealth is rolling with? This is an, embarrassment to law. This is an absolutely embarrassment to the legal system. So what? Couples have arguments. Couples fight. I'm sure that all of you watching have had a fight with your significant other, with your spouse, with your lover, whatever. Couples fight. Doesn't mean I'm going to go out and murder you. Oh, my God. I can't tell you. It's just unbelievable. This is such a sham, bullshit charade of a trial. All right, let's go.
After Mr. O'Keefe said, "Calm down, that's Laura's little sister," I said, "Hi, nice to meet you." That's when Miss Reed's head snapped up, and she very loudly told me to go myself across the lobby.
Okay.
And I said, "Yeah, you too," and walked away.
That means murder, right? That's going to be murder because she said that. That's murder because she said fuck off. Lou, thanks for checking in. Says, glad I caught the show tonight. Karen's hysterical stops and says, Jen Googles, Hoss Long, the dying cold. Seriously, Jackson, you rock. Thank you so much for the $5. I'm going to add that to the total. We're almost at $500. $500 tonight, and 25% will kick back to Karen Reed. All right, let's keep going here.
I went straight up to my older sister, Laura, who was out to dinner with the couple the night before. I went up to her and I looked at her and I said, John O'Keefe's girlfriend? And she looked at me and said, Karen? And I said, yeah, you guys like her? She said, yeah, she's okay. And I said, well, she sucks. So my sister pulled me aside from everybody and asked if the night that I got into the altercation with Miss Reed in the lobby, if I was making out with Mr. O'Keefe.
How did you respond?
That I absolutely was not.
So what?
Okay, so we might hear more.
What the fuck does that have to do with the price of tea in China? What does that add to anything here? How does that seriously, how does that fucking line up and put Karen Reed supposedly getting in her SUV, hitting John, leaving him there to die? How does that line up or put them in that place? This has nothing to do with anything pertaining to this case. And I hope the jury is seeing through all this shit. Because you had an argument. 3 weeks. Oh, Karen's just so salty about that argument 3 weeks ago. I think Karen's a lot smarter than that. This is Jesus Christ.
About this storyline and a possible motive that's being put forth by the Commonwealth here, trouble in paradise, from O'Keefe's niece and nephew who were also on that trip. They have yet to be called to the stand, Vinny.
All right. Matt Johnson, big day. Thank you so much. When we come back, we'll bring in our trial insiders and take a closer look at all of this evidence and what it means and how it's playing. Plus, coming up next hour.
Real quick. Playing grab ass. I love the name. Gifted 5 memberships. Welcome to the membership group. We'll add 25 to the total. I think we're at just over 500. 25% will get kicked back to Karen Reed Defense Fund. I'm going to speed this up and get past the commercial. All right, here we go.
Ms. McCabe, the reason you deleted that 2:27 a.m. call is because you realized that if you were caught Googling how long it takes for a person to die in the cold 3.5 hours before John's body was found, that would incriminate you, wouldn't it?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
Did you delete that search because you knew that you would be implicated in John O'Keefe's death if that search was found on your phone?
Objection.
Could you answer that, please?
I did not delete that search. I never made that search at 2:23. I never would have left John O'Keefe out in the cold to die because he was my friend that I loved.
Your friend that you love, but you didn't.
What a big moment. Important moment for both sides of this case. Important moment for the jury. I mean, this is part of the basis, how they're going to figure out whether or not the search was done at 2:27 or if it was done when they found John O'Keefe. This Google search by Jennifer McCabe. Let's take a look at more of this back and forth, this cross-examination about this extremely significant Google search.
You see this first search that says hostile to die in cold?
I do.
What's that time?
You've got the, it's right over at 2:27
AM or PM?
a.m.
Ms. McCabe, you made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
Absolutely not.
Add $5. Yeah, I got it. I know.
All right. Let's bring in our trial insiders. Joining me tonight, Karen Reed supporter, creator of the Justice for Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed Facebook page. You saw him inside the courtroom today, Nick Rocco. Also with us, the YouTuber behind Yellow Cottage Tales, Kevin Lenahan, and criminal defense attorney Joseph Krowski Jr. Great to have all of you here. Let me begin with you, Nick, inside the courtroom. You're watching this moment. You're watching this critical cross-examination. And my understanding is this search at 2:27, this alleged 2:27 search, is the reason why people like you have fallen behind and supported initially Karen Reed.
Yeah, absolutely. When it came out in April of 2023, there was an absolute public opinion on this case, and they weren't happy with the fact that this was going to continue to move forward, considering the fact that she Googled it at 2:27. So an issue today that Adam Lally had brought up with Ms. McCabe was he asked her, did you turn your cell phone off at night? And she said, correct. So if she had turned her phone off, then how did she wake up to a phone call at 4:53 from Karen Reed? But let's get into this Google search real quick. So search number 1, hostile to die in cold. Search number 2 being how long T.I. died in CIKD. Now the issue with this, and if they bring the pictures up, when you Google search these, right under both Google searches, not only do you get the same result, but it also says showing results for how long to die in cold. So no matter how Jennifer McCabe spelled it at 6:23 or 6:24, she was going to get the same results. So now there was no reason for that second Google search at 6:24. The only reason for that Google search was to match up to her 2:27 Google search, and hopefully by her deleting it, which the Celebrite data shows it was deleted, they wouldn't find it. So it's going to be interesting what the experts have to weigh in on this.
Well, Kevin Lenahan, how do you see this? Because when this information first came out, you had an opinion about it, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. When Turtle Boy first broke this article on April 18th, I looked at this conspiracy and said, well, there's a lot of things that make no sense. 11 people in the house being silent.
The guy that believes his own bullshit. All right, let's keep playing.
All the police and medical examiners that had to be involved, putting a dying or dead man on your own lawn. But then there's on the left, on the other hand, is 227, right? And I thought, like Nick, that data is just data. But then the state came out and said they have an independent expert that showed it, that they had another explanation for it. And now we've seen we're going to get those explanations from Celebrite and this and that. But I spent the last year catching up on what data is. And data is not just data. Data is very complicated. And you can't ever just rely on one little piece of data. So we know that
So Plevin's an attorney now, and Plevin's a Celebrite expert. Okay, you're an engineer now, right? So data is just not data. I gotta make a fucking shirt with that on it. Data is just not data. It's complicated. Data is just not data. So if you look at your bank account and there's a number there, that's data, right? So let's say you have $1 million in your account, but it's really not $1 million because data is just data. So so it really means if you have $1 million in there, it just means it could be $10 because data is just data.
paramedic inside the ambulance heard Karen ask almost the exact same question. So, and I can't think of any reason why Jen would make this search at 227, not look at any of the results at 227, and then strangely make those same searches twice more in the squad car at the scene under stress.
What other things are just things? Throw them in the chat. Eggs are just eggs. Let's go. Let's get some going in the chat here. What else is what?
And then have it be the coincidence of the paramedics asking for the same thing. So to me, 227 is just no longer a factor in this case.
Joseph Krause Jr., your thoughts about this issue, but also about the way it played out in court today through cross-examination, something that you've done for years.
Yeah, so Vinny, you have to love the theater, don't you? Look, Alan Jackson's a good lawyer. I'm not going to dispute that, but I think he went a little too long and got a little too loose. They flew him out here from Hollywood, California, and a 6th grade school teacher met him in the center of the ring and went toe-to-toe with him. I think he lost control of the witness, and she was able to augment her answers, and she was actually able to tell her story. Now, good cross-examination is about the lawyer telling his story. I do think he lost control. It is clear that Jen McCabe has had it, and she made a conscious decision to fight. On that how long to die in the cold, what corroborates Jen McCabe's version of the story is she also Googled Ozone Basketball, the team that her daughter had been invited to play in.
That's pretty crazy. You've just been involved in covering up a murder, and you go home and you Google something about your daughter's basketball team. That's how cold-blooded you are. That's what you were thinking about at that very moment. That is cold-blooded. Absolutely cold-blooded.
At 2 o'clock or 2:30 in the morning without any difficulty spelling it. She very clearly and succinctly explained why she had a problem spelling it, because it was 6:20 in the morning. Karen Reed was hysterical. Jen McCabe has MS, and it was cold out. And again, to Kevin's point, there is the corroboration of that EMT that said Karen Reed was saying how long to die in the cold. Final point on this. The state isn't just calling an independent expert. We deal with experts back and forth all the time, and sometimes they're just a wash. But as I understand Adam Lally, they were actually able to obtain the person that wrote the source code in the software for Cellbrite. That's going to be a really tough expert to counter. So again, let's wait and see. Pretty amazing though. 2 years, 180 witnesses, and it might come down to one Google search. One other point, you said that most famous Google search. I have to disagree with you. I think the Casey Anthony Google search probably was the most famous Google search.
No, Hoss Long the Dying.
No.
But you're still doing great, Vinny.
It was on Firefox.
All right. It's
Gotcha. Checkmate. Let me ask you, Nick, are you bothered, or do you believe, number one, that she was searching Ozone Basketball at the same time? And does that make sense to you that on one hand, she's thinking about her daughter's basketball team, and on the other hand, she's thinking about murdering John O'Keefe?
Well, from what I'm understanding, this Ozone Basketball search happened nanoseconds before the Google search happened. So as far as the Ozone Basketball, I mean, to say she's checking it at 2 a.m. Because her daughter got invited to a team after just drinking all night. She didn't go to bed. That was number one. Her Apple Health data shows that. Right. So why is she looking up a basketball tournament or a game that her daughter's supposed to join specifically around the time she did this Google search? Now, I'm not saying Ozone Basketball wasn't already on her browser, but also a Google was up too, and she Googled that at 2:27. Just for the sole fact that she said she turned her phone off that night is a lie. We know it's a lie because she wouldn't have got that phone call from Karen Reed. So why is she saying her phone was off? And why won't she say the words "Haas long to die" on the stand? She won't answer the question. She won't say it. After 2 years, she doesn't know what she Googled.
Yeah, Kevin, what did you think of that moment? I thought that was kind of awkward because, I mean, the whole world that's watching this trial knows the search. Well, I am sure.
Oh, she didn't have to say it because she didn't do it. Ready?
Or she knew the search, but didn't want to give Alan Jackson anything.
Yeah, she was being defiant because he's just trying to force her to say the words. And I think today was an absolute, especially with the Kerry Roberts, but also with Jen, was an absolute disaster. I feel like Nick is a really good card player playing a really bad hand now. And today's the day he learned how bad the hand was. I mean, this is just not going to go anywhere. Think about this. We learned that Jen and Kerry both voluntarily turned over their phones to the troopers. The same troopers that we're told are running this cover up.
You didn't smoke crack. Do you smoke crack? Or is he in some like parallel universe? I literally are we being, I don't know, maybe we're part of the joke. Are we part of the joke? Kevin's trolling. He's serious. He's probably, I bet you behind closed doors, he's the biggest Karen Reed supporter and he's just playing this joke on us, right? This is not real life, right? I feel like I'm in a parallel universe right now. He believes this shit. All right, let's go. We're being punked.
So why are they getting their phones? Why are innocent? And why would people, if they're part of a conspiracy, be turning over their phones? It wouldn't. And the moral of the story is, I guess, never turn over your phone, even if you're innocent, because you're gonna.
I bet you he's gonna do that Scooby-Doo ending when they zip off their face or pull their face off, and he's like, "Yes, I'm the federal authority that busted all these people. Arrest them."
You get a slippery defense team to find some random piece of data and then get through social media create a conspiracy.
Nick, did you have it looks like you have a response to that.
Jen handed her over her phone after she deleted 20 phone calls in the Google search. And not only that, the state police allowed her to delete messages with her kids. One of the kids being one who picked up Colin. Yeah. So we would have known, because I'm sure they talked about when Colin was picked up, and I'm sure they told each other that. So the fact that the state police just said, yeah, you can delete those. Anything else you want to delete too before I check your phone? I mean, come on, that's not okay.
Colin wasn't part of the conspiracy theory until a year later. So
Joseph, could it be a problem for the prosecution? Was she too combative? Was she not likable? Or was Alan Jackson too tough on her? Because I know you've been accused of being too tough sometimes too.
Yeah, I was lambasted on your show, I think, a year ago, almost to this date, for being too tough. So, and I give Alan Jackson credit, right? He knows the temperature of the room. He thinks he has permission to go where he's going. I'll tell you why Jen McCabe didn't say those words, because that single phrase is responsible for turning her life absolutely upside down. So sometimes it's not just what a witness is saying, but it's how they're saying it. So I think her anger and her passion has to come off as authentic. And again, this is 2024. This is a strong, intelligent, woman, and she was fierce up there. So with me, it played well because I like a good fight. I don't know how the jury saw that.
All right, all our guests are staying with us. When we come back, after the testimony today, there are some questions. Did the Karen Read supporters take it too far? We'll see what Nick Rocco and everyone else has to say when we come back.
The Shaaawk Horrrraah.
Why'd you go to Michael Proctor's house in September of 2023?
We are two mothers that are being viciously terrorized and harassed by social media. Things that were stated in this courtroom and allegations that were made have torn our lives upside down. I am a state witness that is being tortured because of lies.
Because of public outrage concerning your family's involvement in the death of a police officer, correct?
No, it's a social media witch hunt.
Oh, God.
This is now evidence in the case. This is now evidence in the case through the testimony of Jennifer McCabe, what she alleges has happened to her as a result of all this, her family being terrorized in Canton, Massachusetts. Let's bring back.
I love this. This is the line for tonight. Charlie says, "Oh no, people are speaking freely in America. The horror. It's such a horror. It's a horror."
Like in our guests, our insiders, Nick Rocco, Karen Read supporter, Ostrowski Jr., criminal defense attorney, at one point represented Colin Albert, and Kevin Lenahan from the YouTube channel Yellow Cottage Tales. So what I want to do is play another piece of that testimony relative to the allegations of what she and her family have gone through. I want to watch that together. Let's take a look.
We receive letters, we receive emails, we receive calls. People drive by our house. There was a rolling rally outside of my house where people just screamed at us. They take pictures of our children. They took a picture of my daughter and put semen on it and said property of some named blogger that I think the defense is very familiar with. So that is why myself and Elizabeth Proctor got together. Michael Proctor was not home. We are two mothers trying to get through the unthinkable together.
Unthinkable.
So
Yeah,
the question I have, Nick, after
you're part of the cover-up.
all this comes out in court now and these allegations, number one, do you agree with her representation of what happened? And if you know what happened, I don't even know if you were at any of these things. And do you think some members of the Karen Read movement, the supporters, have gone too far?
So first thing I would like to say is, I don't condone harassment in any way. I was not at that rolling rally, but as far as the Free Karen Read movement and supporters go, everybody that I've encountered has been nothing but nice and very genuine in this case. As far as the harassment that these people are receiving, I think it is an outcry of the public that wasn't happy with this Google search. Now, I can't speak for everybody because, there's always going to be a few that go above and beyond as far as, Facebook messages or, sending letters. But it's very interesting how all of this harassment Jen McCabe is saying she received started in April of 2023. And then in June 2023 was the first time ever under oath on paper, Jennifer McCabe told the federal grand jury, I hit him. That was the first time ever. But it also goes.
Kind of interesting how that lines up. And I heard a lot of people talking about this. And by the way, I just want to recognize $2. So what's the deal with Higgins tomorrow? Health? That's the $1 million question, Indy. That's the $1 million question. That is the $1 million question. All right, let's go.
Goes both sides. Elizabeth Proctor has called multiple people's jobs and actually got one of them fired because people were criticizing her husband online. I've received bad reviews on my business, and I know many others have as well. It may not be the extent of the harassment they're getting, but it's on both sides. It's just that, Jen McCabe is in court and she's able to, apparently put this into evidence. And one thing I did need to mention real quick to Joe was that, Colin maybe has received some harassment. And I know you had stated this before, but you also vouched to him the other day saying that Colin Albert has never been in a fight. And I just need to correct you that there is now a video online of Colin Albert in a fist fight. So I wanted to make that clear that
it's play fighting, but
it's a fist fight.
Joseph, I'll let you go first, so you can respond to that if you would like. But also, what are your thoughts now? Is there any irony here or something? Because now this is evidence in the case. What is happening between the protesters, the Karen Read movement, and some of these witnesses in the case, yet the protesters are kept away from the courthouse, 200 feet away. What do you think of the entire situation and what it means for this trial and what it means for this jury now?
So look, our country, thrives on vigorous and robust debate. No question about that. But this has gone way beyond that. And when Nick talks about both sides, this is really, really one-sided. And what's unique about this case is you actually have the defendant and defense team in full collaboration endorsing the tactics used by some of the online personalities.
Thank you so much for the $10. We'll add that to the total for tonight. We're going to kick back 25% to Karen Read's defense fund, and I will show receipts on my social medias, my LTL Media's Facebook page, my YouTube community tab, and you can go right to Karen Read's defense fund and look at recent donations. We'll say LTL Media chat raiser, the date of 5/23, and then we'll have the total that I'll call out at the end of the stream. All right, let's keep going.
It goes way beyond harassment. It goes to showing up at people's homes, showing up at their businesses, showing up at high school sporting events. To what end? What is the purpose? To intimidate these people? To harass these people? To prejudge these people? To make their lives miserable? So I'm all about a good, robust debate. I'll debate Nick any day of the week. I actually like Nick. I enjoy this show. I enjoy debating the merit. But what's been done on here, and if you look at the vitriol and the vile and the name calling and criticizing people for their looks and for their socioeconomic status, it's just really an uneducated, unnecessary part of this case that I hope is just a one-off.
Do you see any of those people doing that there? They're cheering. They're having support. They're showing love. Where is this happening, dude?
For Nick's non sequitur, look, I heard something about a video that was posting. I don't have any first-hand information, but what I did hear or see is someone said that it was something to do with a good friend of Colin Albert's, and that if they played the video, it would be clear that it was not a serious fight. But that's a non sequitur. That has not.
And by the way, too, John DePietro put out the other day on his Twitter or X, said that Free Karen Read supporters were reported to be following jury members home and harassing them. That is an absolute, complete 1000% lie. And I'm going to tell you why, John DePietro. If that was true, and I know, and all of the 1753 I'll get it. People in here know that the mainstream media would grab and run with that. You would see that on headline news, or at least in local news around here. It would be in newspaper print everywhere. It would be all over Twitter. It would be all over Facebook. It would be on every news channel in and around the Boston area. That's an absolute, complete lie. 100,000% lie.
Nothing to do with what happened today in the courtroom. And what about Kerry Roberts, who said and was not cross-examined? Here's a non sequitur for you, that Karen Read called her at 5 in the morning and said, John O'Keefe is dead. That was not cross-examined. That's in evidence.
Kevin, I want to add one more piece here, because as a result of all of this, what we're seeing, we know that Turtle Boy is now facing charges, but something else happened. The DA came out and spoke prior to the trial, another move that created some level of controversy in this case. Let's take a look.
This will be the first statement of its kind in my dozen years as Norfolk.
Colin Albert was not inside the house. Why would you have to say that more than 3 times to make your point? Little sketchy there, little skeptical when you're trying to make this point over and over and over again. It's a little weird. Just saying. Little weird.
District Attorney. The harassment of witnesses in the murder prosecution of Karen Reed is absolutely baseless. The idea that multiple police department, EMTs, fire personnel, the medical examiner, and prosecuting agencies are joined in or taken in by a vast conspiracy should be seen for what it is, completely contrary to the evidence and a desperate attempt to reassign guilt. What is happening to the witnesses, some with no actual involvement in the case, is wrong.
All right, Kevin Lenahan, let me ask you your reaction to this. I think we lost Nick's connection. But Kevin, where do you see the line in all of what has happened in Canton between like free speech, the right to protest, and then crossing that line? Like, do you believe the movement has taken it too far?
Oh, and I've experienced it firsthand. I can even just give you a little personal story going back to last summer. So this was, I started out, I'd never been to Canton. I'm covering this case, trying.
It's a bunch of bullshit too, because I'm going to tell you, I was down at one of the court TV segments, probably one of the first or second court TV segments that Kevin was at. And I'm going to be honest with you, every single person, every free Karen Reed supporter in that room, I wouldn't say everyone, went over and at least acknowledged Kevin and said hello. I actually went over and shook his hand. He actually was nice to me. He said, hey, I've seen your show. I think you're doing a great job. Congratulations on your new studio. And I said, good luck to you. And he said, good luck to me. I shook his hand and that was it. But, he's going to bring up all this bullshit that's lies and try to make everybody look like they're all this hostile crowd. It's ridiculous. Indy Cindy, thank you so much for the $2. This is Captain Kangaroo. All right, let's keep playing here. Everybody was nice to him in that restaurant. Kevin showed up by himself. He didn't have any supporters there, and everybody was nice. And I actually saw Nick engaging with him. Nick shook his hand, and whatever. It is what it is. But to sit here and say that, he's going to go on this big diatribe of how he was yelled and screamed at, he never been to Canton, it's all lies.
Just objective about it. But as I started asking more and more questions, people on the other side were making threats against me. And I got a call from Aiden Kearney, Turtle Boy, who I'd only spoke to once before, saying that Alan Jackson himself wanted to talk to me. He gave me his number. So I texted Alan Jackson saying, this is Kevin from Yellow Cottage Tales, and I'm willing to talk to you, but just understand, I'm always going to be objective and neutral. I'm not on anybody's side. And he texted back, oh, I understand. That's okay. I'll give you a call, which he never did. But understand, my channel was small. My lives, I was getting about 100 people, whereas Turtle Boy's getting 3,000. But I was the only dissenting voice really at that time in any kind of media. And they were going to try to get me on board. So so this is just building on what Joe was saying. The idea that this defense team is somehow separate from this mob behavior, no way. They are 100% attached to it at every step of the way. They floated theories to me through the lieutenants. Karen is managing this stuff right from the center. False theories, smearing theories. One of them that I reported on my channel and had to retract until I understood what was going on. They have a lot of tentacles out there. Nick is one of them, but I take Nick at his word. He is not someone that has been ever harassing people or acted indecently. I think he's a good guy, and in no way, he is an exception to the rule.
All right, we lost Nick's connection, but we thank Nick Rocco and, of course, Kevin Lenahan from Yellow Cottage Tales on YouTube and Joseph Krowski Jr. Thank you all so much. We'll see you again, probably tomorrow.
All right. What do you want? I'll go. Do you want me to keep going a little while longer? I can. We can do a few things. I have the video from Aiden outside the courthouse today when he spoke after his hearing. I can play that. It's about 15 minutes long. Or, I don't know, we can pull up some more testimony. Maybe Jen, if you want to do that, we can go through that. You let me know in the chat. I'll stay for a little while longer. What would you like me to do? Aiden, I'm seeing Aiden. Let's see. I'll wait for the chat to give me the cue. Cash App. I'll drop it. You can just do it off this link. Keep going. All right, we'll keep going. Please don't bring him up. Aiden, everybody wants Aiden. I think we're seeing Aiden. All right, let's play Aiden after court today. I got it queued. Now that I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a little choppy because the connection outside of court sucks because you have all the satellite trucks, but we'll be able to at least listen and hear what Aiden had to say. All right, let's go. This guy.
The corruption is real. You all are corrupt. The whole damn system is corrupt. The police is corrupt.
It's okay.
It's
all right. It's all right. All right. You're busy. It's all right.
He's done nothing. He's just ignoring our discovery request.
I'm trying to find an angle here. I'm like, where do I go?
We still haven't gotten the charging document for that. I literally have no idea what I've been accused of. It's been 3 months since then. It seems like they're delaying. I don't know if it's intentional.
I think I find it here.
He got paid $80,000 to do his job. We found that in discovery request. I don't know how much attorney Tom's broker is getting to do that too, but it seems like a gigantic waste of taxpayer resources to try to take free speech and journalism and activism, which are hallmarks of American democracy, a felony.
In the past, you've accused him of intentionally trying to slow roll this whole process to prevent you from trying to cover the Karen murder trial. Has that impacted your ability to do so now?
No, I mean, I've been able to cover the trial as best I can, but it's difficult to walk around with the sword of Damocles over your head. Constantly feels like you're walking on thin ice when you're out on bail. Like in anything that you say that they can twist. And I mean, they've turned time-honored journalism into a felony. So if they can take the things that I've already said and turn them into felonies, they can take anything I say and turn it into a felony. So just being out on bail in the first place is dangerous. And I think that's what they want me to be out on bail, because they want me to be able to be, very careful about the things I say, and perhaps not saying anything at all. If I say nothing at all, then I don't run the risk of violating my bail. So I think that's the whole purpose of this.
The judge made a point there to say any discovery that you guys get, not to publish it or disseminate it. Is that something you're
not any discovery from the extraction.
I mean, that's your hallmark, right? Is publishing things.
Yeah, but I'm not going to violate a court order. Up until today, they gave us a full data extraction of her phone. They just gave it to us. We went through it. We found mountains of exculpatory evidence proving.
So he's talking about Lindsay here, talking about getting her data, the extraction, and seeing all the exculpatory evidence in there. I apologize. It's the sound is low. It's just the way it happens. You have all those satellite trucks out there. Look at all the microphones. It's killing the stream, but we'll keep playing through.
And it was actually horrifying, some of the things I found, proving that the state police colluded with this woman to frame me for a crime I didn't commit so that they could jail me on Christmas. It's all in writing, messages. It was a big oopsie on their part to give that to us. Now that they've given us, they can't unring the bell, and they don't want us publishing that information because it would be detrimental to them.
What do you think about what Jen McCabe said yesterday? Specifically, she referenced receiving pictures with bodily fluids on them.
It's a complete lie. Jen McCabe is a pathological liar who helped murder John O'Keefe. She Googled how long did the guy in called at 2:27. She denies it. Now she's using her own children. Think how sick that is. She is using her own children as a sexual prop to make up a complete lie. There were no pictures sent to her of her children with sexual things on her face. That is a complete lie. What kind of monster uses their own children as bait like that to win some type of flame war in the media and presents herself as the victim? Jennifer McCabe, that's who.
All right, any other questions about today?
Yeah. I'm looking at the line now.
Yeah. So, you're in a tough spot when someone is saying they're sick, you want to be charitable, but I think it's becoming increasingly clear that the Commonwealth is bitten off a lot more than they can chew on this case. They don't know what they're doing. They can't provide a discovery. I don't know what's going on. I'm glad that they brought in Attorney Cosgrove to hopefully we can level the playing field here, get us the discovery we need, because it hasn't been happening. And we're just discussing with them. They have time to indict them, revoke his bail, go after me. They don't have time to comply with the discovery. How about you just do the basics and let's litigate the case?
So you share the belief that this case was almost filed to pull them away from the retrial?
Yes, yes. This
And
is
so
an unprecedented prosecution.
Do you think it'll be dropped when the retrial is over?
Yep. I don't know, but we're not looking for any favors from them. We're going to make it get dropped. We're going to dismiss it. When we get this case dismissed, if they don't comply with discovery, it's going to be dismissed for lack of prosecution. And if they provide discovery, they're not going to provide any evidence of an actual crime. We're going to move to dismiss it, and we're going to show that it's not a crime, that it's all First Amendment protected activity. It never should have been brought. The whole thing is just a civil rights violation, and we want to get Mr. Carney out from under this, and get that sort of done with his office head. It's ridiculous.
Is Mr. Miller off the case now? Or did you get an answer?
I don't know. I got discovery today that said that he had texted Ms. Gattani, which we also contend is he shouldn't be texting directly and calling directly with a witness on the phone. But we received discovery today that we did receive, saying that he told her he's withdrawing from the case. And then counsel was news to me. Counsel said to the judge that that's a fake email. So they're providing us discovery of fake emails. I don't know what's going on here, but everything just seems to breed more questions than answers. And we just want to get our discovery and litigate the case.
And they have till June 13th, right?
Yes.
And can you be there for Brian Higgins tomorrow?
I have a wedding to go to in New Jersey. I wish I could. I heard it's going to be wild. Yeah. Are you going to go?
I'll be there.
I don't want to be in
The only witness is like
I don't know how to file this motion against me, so I was putting the sheriff department total joke, totally ridiculous, and denied by Judge Wesley. And now we're turning the tables on him. We're moving to disqualify him for everything I said. I'm not going to hold it again, but he didn't see the conduct that I thought healed all of our cell phone numbers to the public, caused all of us great harm. And the thing that I can't get over is it's exactly the same conduct that he accused my client of. He indicted my client for it and claims that he's a felon. So who's going to prosecute him? Yeah, he needs to be prosecuted.
Thank you.
Corruption is real. The corruption is real.
All right, folks. The Shaaawk Horrrraah campaign is going to continue. Oh, what can I say? Jen McCabe, you Googled at 2:27 a.m. It's in the Celebrate report. I don't know why you continue to deny it, but you caught. All right, Rogue, what is the total? What do we got for a total? Wait for Rogue. Let's see what the total is. Just waiting for my mod. All right, 572 total. We're going to kick back 25%. 25% is 143. We'll round it up to 145. So we're going to give Karen 145 towards her defense fund. I'll get that posted up immediately after the show. You'll be able to see it on my Facebook, LTL Media. I'll put the receipt up, put the receipt on my community tab, and you can go right to the Karen Reed Defense Fund site, and you will see LTL Media chat raiser, and then the date, 5/23/24. We will put it up 145. All right, everybody. I want to thank every single person tonight that joined us here in the chat. Tomorrow, I will be streaming the trial. Come over and join me. My stream's going to start at 8:50 in the morning. I'd love to see all you come back if you can. I'm going to stream the trial. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, the Brian Higgins day. the Brian Higgins Day, and I'll be curious to see what happens tomorrow. We're all boggling our brain. We're probably not going to be able to sleep, but I will be here. I promise I'll be here in the morning. Thank you all mods. Thank you all moderators, all the new subscribers, all the people that contributed tonight via Super Chat or new members or Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. So a lot of things come through, and we raised a lot of money for Karen Reed tonight. So I'm super, super proud of that, super happy. And thank you all. I'm so proud that you're and happy that you're part of this community. And we keep the channel rolling here. All right, everybody, have a wonderful night. Thank you all so much. And everybody be safe out there tomorrow at the court if you're going to be there. And I will talk to everybody soon. All right, I'm out. Tomorrow's stream, I'm going to drop the link for that if you want to set your reminders. If not, when this closes up, it will take you right over to that stream. So you can just set your reminder there. Let me drop that in the chat real quick, and then I'm going to hit the outro and get out of here. Scott, have a good night and have a good day outside the court if you decide to go. All right, everybody. Bye.